What if the version of you who created your current level of success isn't actually who's meant to hold your next level? Today, we are diving deeper into identity transformation and really how this shows up and how you can create sustainable success without burning out, collapsing, having to burn it all down. Let's dive into how I came to this revelation. I was really blessed to experience an incredible amount of success at a really young age. Most people will tell you that success leaves clues, and it really does. As a kid, because of my circumstances, I was a go-getter. I was very ambitious. I had plans to graduate and go to med school, and I worked full time my entire college career. It wasn't out of the ordinary for me to have high goals. Anywho, I graduated from college, decided not to go to med school, and ultimately ended up getting into direct sales. And very quickly, I quantum leaped to the top 1% of that company. So here I am, 24 years old. I'm newly married. I have a miracle baby, and I have achieved the success that a lot of people, the vast majority of people, looked at and were like, oh my gosh, we're so proud of you. We're so proud of you. This is incredible. If you are familiar with direct sales at all, when you're in the top of these companies, you are getting free trips. You're getting designer handbags. You are winning cash bonuses and being honored on stage, and you have a team who's looking up to you. And it was such an interesting experience. I think that there's something about achieving your dreams that gives you a revelation. It doesn't have to be the most insane success, but whatever success meant to you, whatever your goals were, there seems to be this moment where you start to realize, you start looking around and go, this doesn't feel like me at all. Who does this belong to? It feels very disconnected. And although I was extremely grateful for what I had created and for not just the opportunity, but really enjoying the experience of working with the women that I worked with. They were so incredible, and I was doing really amazing work, yet it felt like I was using a fraction of my potential. To everyone else, from the outside looking in, I looked successful, but on the inside, I felt unfulfilled. That's the simplest way I can put it. Like I had just tapped into a tiny bit of my potential and that there was so much more. So I ended up hitting this wall where I wasn't really just motivated by the next goal. It was just like I was complacent. Okay, I got it. I got the success. Yay. But then I started digging deeper and really seeking my true self. I really started to ask questions around, who am I truly? When I unpacked that, so much of my desire for success was a reaction to the fact that I grew up in a poor environment and I did not want to live that, and I didn't want to pass that down. Right? I did not realize it, but the success that I created was coming from an identity of trauma, an identity that was rooted in trauma. It was who I had become and who I was performing in order to stay safe, in order to succeed, in order to fit in, and on. And so this took me on a journey. Yes, my journey went quite spiritual. I went about as spiritual as you can go, right? But ultimately was a journey, a 5-year long journey of shedding. I was having a conversation, a coffee chat. I do these little coffee chats with my inner circle sometimes, my inner circle of friends. And we were talking about this work. She used to work for me. She knows the truth of what my work is. And she was reflecting to me that this is literally the most important transformation that a person could possibly go through in their life. that it is also the most challenging transformation that we can go through, because shedding aspects of yourself and having these revelations, it can be very confronting and it can be really challenging. But on the flip side of that, on the other side of surrendering to that process, it is the sweetest, most incredible experience that we can have as human beings. It is true liberation when you break free from your masks and instead are walking in your truth. And it is a journey that honestly never really ends. However, your experience in it shifts. She was like, I get so excited when I see something, when I realize that how I'm showing up is a product of how I related to my dad, or the expectations put on me because of my gender or because of my race and on. So let's dive into the signs that you actually might be experiencing energetic misalignment. The first is that there might be an aspect of you that is internally tired. Yes, this can also manifest as a physical burnout. That's like the last stage. But if you notice that you are having to push and force yourself to do things, that can be a sign that there's something about the way that you are going about doing things that may not be in true alignment. It's actually that experience of dissonance, that friction sensation, that is the opportunity for growth, for you to come to deeper levels of understanding of who you are and what needs to be shed. Now, a lot of people, unfortunately, are experiencing burnout, like the physical manifestation of it, but that is always the byproduct. That is always an after effect. And there are like red flags that are alerting you long before that happens. And I prefer to do this work because you can actually prevent that burnout from happening. You might also catch yourself just going through the motion, treating your personal growth and your goals like a to-do list. Oh, I meditated, check that off. Oh, I did my shadow work, check that off. Oh, did my planning for the day, check that off. This is a sign that you are disconnected from the spirit of inspiration, essentially. When you are in flow, when you are truly aligned, a lot of people think that flow is like you're doing nothing. No, sometimes doing nothing is necessary. If you are a person who struggles to do nothing, that can be really powerful medicine for you to reconnect with who you are outside of producing, outside of doing, outside of performing. Hint, that's important. However, flow is quite active. The difference is that when you're in flow, you actually are in life, right? There's a life to it. There's a spirit to it. There can be a joy in it. It doesn't have to be like an outwardly, I'm so happy, I'm so excited type energy, but there's an active energy, but also there is a lack of resistance when you're in flow. So if you notice that the things that you were once excited about, goals that, you think you should be excited about, like your next financial goal, but it's just like a number or it's just like a thing, those are signs that there's an aspect of you that is not really aligned with that. That doesn't mean, by the way, that you can't create that goal or that vision can't come to life. It just means that possibly how you're going about doing it is misaligned. It also could be why you're doing it. So very often I get a lot of women who have these perfectionist tendencies and use their goals to verify that, oh, when I do blank months, then I am an expert. And the truth is that there's nothing externally that's going to make you feel like that. So if you are chasing goals from a place that's not true to who you are, then you will struggle to find the motivation past a certain point, right? Most of us have a certain financial threshold that we think, oh, when I'm making XYZ, then I'm going to be good. But I know lots of people who are making more money than they could ever spend in their entire life, and yet still find themselves not satisfied. So my intention is not that you just give up making money, but that you do so from alignment, that you actually come back to your truest self and make money from that place, build an empire from that place, build your team from that place, because that's where you're going to create the legacy that you truly are here for. That is you fulfilling the greatest potential that you can bring onto this plane. Another sign is that you are craving depth over doing. So if you've been in a pattern where your solution to everything is, let me find a new tactic, let me get a new strategy, let's do another launch. If you've gotten to the point where there's a part of you now that wants to do fewer things, but with deeper intention, where growth is no longer just about numbers going up in your bank account or in your revenue, but that now you're in a position where growth is inner. It means going deeper in yourself and creating with more meaning and more intention and more depth. That can be a sign that what you have created, the life that you've created, the business that you've created is not aligned because it's not providing that sense of deep connection. So it's important for you to, number one, give yourself some grace. This is not a failure. This experience is an initiation. This experience is an opportunity to recalibrate. I say recalibrate, but very few people have actually built from this place because we live in a world that's really, it doesn't really care about us fulfilling our highest potential. It's set up in a way to keep us as productive members of society, being just like a cog in the wheel, chasing on the hamster wheel, right? It's important that we really understand that at the foundation of our reality, what is creating our reality is your identity. Your identity is the foundation and the strategy in your business. Your identity is the foundation in your marriage. Your identity is how you're showing up on stage or on camera, right? If you are experiencing this collapse of your identity on an internal level, what's presenting is an opportunity for you to make conscious all of the unconscious ways that you have built success based on who you had to be to survive, based on who you became in order to stay safe and be who you thought you should be. But your true self is ready to take her throne. You're not broken. You're just shedding the skin of who you had to be. For those already unraveling, I've opened up a private space for high-level women navigating this exact moment. You can apply for consideration below and be sure to share this with someone who needs it.